For tennis fans, the months of June and July will only more often than not mean one thing. It is time for Wimbledon once again. And of course, the All England Championships do have, let's say, their own charm, because again, it's the only Grand Slam now that is played on grass courts. And more importantly, the prestige, the sheen of the tournament remains pretty much untouched from what it used to be. And so therefore there is a lot of interest and intrigue over what exactly it is that the main draw will look like, as far as how it is that players are paired up against one another in the opening rounds, as well as what exactly it is their potential opponents could be. So in this video we'll go through the main draw and the potential quarterfinalists for the men's and women's side of things. But if you're an Indian tennis fan, naturally you'd be wondering, or you'd be aware of the fact that Sumit Nagal will in fact also be making his debut in this year's Wimbledon as well. It'll be his main draw debut in the men's singles round. Don't forget, he is a junior level champion at the boys level in doubles, but this will be a huge first for him, getting to play in this men's singles draw for the first time. Now, before we check in with what it is that the quarterfinals or potential quarterfinals for the men's and women's will look like, let's quickly take a look at what Sumit Nagal's main draw debut will be like. Now, he will be facing up against a Serbian tennis player by the name of Miomir Kekmanovic in the first round. Now, this is a more relatively, let's say, favorable draw for Nagal than the one that he's gotten in recent tournaments, including, of course, the French Open, where he was up against Karen Khachanov. Always was expected to be a hiding onto nothing. But Kekmanovic, the Serbian player, is ranked 53rd in the world in singles, which is still more than what Nagal's current ranking is, which is 71 if my memory serves me right. But it's still a more even keel contest, because neither of them are seeded, and a 20-point ranking is something that, truth be told, is a gap that can be made up by one or two minor tournament wins. So this will be a more even, let's say, round for Nagal, who of course, as I said, was up against Khachanov in Roland Garros and never really stood a chance. Not only a seeded player, but also a top ranked, one of those players who are ranked right there and thereabouts in the top 20 of the world. This one much easier. Of course, for Nagal, making it beyond the first round, second round will of course be potentially making it even the third round will be the major maximum that he would be wanting to accomplish, and the maximum that he can accomplish at this point in time. But that doesn't mean that if you're a tennis fan, they'll be devoid of anything apart from some appetizing potential quarterfinals in the next round. For Nagal, if he makes it as far as the third round, could very well be up against current top seed and world number one, Jannik Sinner. Of course, him beating Sinner would be a long shot at best. But now, keeping all of that aside, let's look at what exactly it is the men's quarterfinals could look like. The potential men's quarterfinals, assuming all these players end up winning, you could see a Jannik Sinner, who's now the world number one, take on Daniil Medvedev. Carlos Alcaraz, the defending Wimbledon champion, will be up against Casper Ruud, a familiar, let's say, foe for him. Alexander Zverev will be up against Russian Andrei Rublev, and that should also be a promising clash really between two of the rising stars of the world of tennis. And Novak Djokovic, who has been confirmed in the main draw despite the fact that he only recently underwent surgery, could potentially be up against Hubert Hurkacz. Yes, that's the same Hubert Hurkacz who defeated Roger Federer in his last competitive Wimbledon bout. So this is what the potential quarters look like here, and you could very well be seeing a Sinner and Alcaraz taking on each other once again in the semis. So really, this year's Wimbledon is shaping up to be very, very good indeed. But how do things look like on the women's side of things? Well, as far as the women's potential quarterfinals are concerned, Iga Swiatek, someone who has dominated on clay courts but struggled in Wimbledon, she could potentially be up against Marketa Vondrousova in the quarterfinals. Another favorite in Elena Rybakina will be up against Jessica Pegula. Coco Gauff, another one, someone who has grown in stature recently, will be up against Yasmin Paolini. And Aryna Sabalenka, again someone who there will be a lot of eyes on, could be up against a Zheng Qinwen. Now, obviously, the major attractions, star attractions from here, you can say a Swiatek, a Rybakina, and a Sabalenka, and for that matter, Coco Gauff as well. Don't forget, Gauff being an American means there is always a huge tennis audience in that particular part of the world. So these would be the 4 players who I think there'd be a lot more eyes on, and as I said, makes for some very, very good matchups as well. So that is it. That is of course what we know about the Wimbledon draw so far. Again, the Grand Slam will be taking place very, very soon, and you know where it is to get some of the latest updates and major happenings from the world of tennis, and of course the Wimbledon Grand Slam. It will of course be here at Sports Today, but to do that you'll need to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and of course leave us a comment. Tell us which quarterfinals you'd really like to see and how far do you rate, let's say, Sumit Nagal's chances of making it to the second or even the third round. And of course, don't forget you can follow us also on social media. We're on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead and check out some other videos we've done as well. For now though, from my side, it is goodbye.